So this is Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and here comes our hero, a male.
Yep.
He comes
a white
home.
Male, of course.
A white male. A white male. A white cis male.
I mean, that's important.
That's established right away. And he gets a fireworks display like every man thinks he deserves when he gets home from work.
Right, absolutely. Even though he's done very little to warrant such praise, obviously.
And here are the evil villains hiding behind the woodpile. Black silhouettes, of course.
Probably the people who put on the goddamn fireworks show. Put in the, did all the work to do that for him. And they're cast as the villains, even though they're, what are they, the employees probably? The help, I would imagine.
So you think this is all class warfare?
So far, they're out in this field next to his gigantic castle that he, of course, deserves because he's a white guy.
Well, you have your field demons, and then you have your house demons, and there's some friction even there.
Oh yeah, lots of class warfare, definitely. I guess the house demons are the ones that earned his favor enough to. Oh, wait a second. So now we have one of his employees, I guess, have just stolen.
Nope. It's a
property.
Princess. It's a princess, so of course she gets kidnapped because that's what they're for.
Right. Well, I mean, that's just another piece of his property. The most valuable piece, by the way. That's his trophy. So that's what they're going to take from him. The more you can murder, the better.
He just tosses an endless supply of these knives, not thinking for a moment about how long it takes them to biodegrade. And he upgrades his suit from a regular suit of full plate mail to a money green suit, and then finally to just gold. Which would be completely heavy, utterly worthless. Right. But you got to have that bling. You got to go and work.
Yeah, definitely.
Got to go and work.
Style. It's the image that he's worried about. Never mind the resources that you're exploiting. Just you have to look good while you're on your murderous rampage. Right. Just resources being exploited and abused by this asshole to ultimately make a profit.
And there, you got ground being swept away.
Oh yeah.
The topsoil's all gone. Flooding out of control because of deforestation.
It wouldn't actually surprise me if this was his property also, and he just.
Oh, look at this!
Wait, now what the hell just happened?
An enemy turns him into a woman.
Oh, holy shit! And let me guess, when he's the woman, he's weaker.
He's helpless.
Can he attack? Can he even attack?
Nope.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Not a woman alive could defend herself. That's why he's here.
It's what is called in gaming parlance a debuff. Runs around in these oil tankers, dodging sperm that are just floating around for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it looks. At first, I thought those were mimics, like from a lot of Dungeons and Dragons inspired games, but it looks more like a half-aborted fetus poking its head out of the treasure chest.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it does. And the observation about the sperm floating around—that's interesting too.
Well, you see, he passes right through them, but I'm pretty sure if he were in his female debuff form, they would just smack her right in the face.
Yeah, and I'm trying to change that, obviously.
Yeah.
But, it's hard because you're just, the propaganda is overwhelming, especially for an impressionable young kid.
Yeah. We all have a struggle ahead of us as we try to take all that unhealthy hatred for the opposite sex and channel it into some positive hatred for our own gender. Here we see life after the melting of the ice caps, where it's just water bobbing up and down, and we're taught that it's going to be fun.
And how does he handle this?
More violence.
Right, more the same way he handled it before. Or is the wildlife is not like mutated and shit?
This looks like some kind of a foundry. Oh, and here we go with this again.
Oh, wow.
And that's all. You just have to wait it out. You just have to wait out.
Look at the way she runs.
Yeah.
It's almost as if she's crying for help. She's crying for help because she can't even fucking... the debuff lasts for what? 10 seconds? Max? And she can't even manage for 10 seconds.
No, all she could do, she couldn't even climb the ladder, jump down. Her all she could do was wait it out, and that's the message we're sending. It's like if you were born a woman, just wait for your next life as a man.
So here we are with every advancing level, the environment gets more horrifying.
This seems like it's like the teeth coming out of these fleshy pink walls. It's like someone's trying to ingrain the player with a fear of vagina dentata, I think it's called. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
It's the irrational fear that a vagina will sprout teeth and bite your penis off. I think that if anything, we'd all be better off. It would be there would never again be well, I know that all penis and vagina sex is technically rape, but since there are some unenlightened women who haven't received the advances of feminist community college research, but that would be the end of all. It'd be the end of all male on female rape, which, as we know, is the only rape that matters.
Right. Otherwise known as sexual intercourse. Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was.
Wow.
Yeah, it would be over. I mean, you would never have another. Woman taking a disgusting wiener inside her body.
Always
against her will. And if someone made the mistake, she could just bite it off. Just bite it right off.
I mean, it makes me wonder why, like, evolutionarily speaking, they have not evolved that way, You would think, in the same way you think, why aren't the healthiest foods things that we want all the time, right? It's the same kind of thing. That why don't women have, what'd you call it, the teeth in their vagina? There's a term for it I've heard
vagina
before.
Dentata.
Right. Why is that just not naturally occurring all the time?
Yeah, explain that, atheists. But continuing with the vaginal teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great system on so many levels. Some guy could be having quote unquote intercourse with a woman, really a sexual assault that no woman in her right mind would ever really want.
Right.
And she could just bite his dick off. And then just chew on it for a bit, for good measure, because you don't want it you don't want him to have to take it down to the hospital and reattach it, like that Bobbitt guy did. No, you want to. I mean,
just enough to make a believer out of you.
Well, yeah, no, I mean you got to make sure that you do this right and do it right the first time. So you bite it off, you chew it up a little bit, and then you spit it right back in his stupid male bearded rapist face, and then he has bloody chunks of his own dick in his own mustache and beard. And I'm pretty sure...
isn't that the only thing they'd understand?
Yeah, violence.
I'm sure that most women wouldn't want to do this. It's just like a defense mechanism. Like, look, it's the only language they speak. So you have to sort of, even against your own will, once again, women having to do something against their own will to appease men, go fucking figure. That's never happened before. But now they have to just essentially, speak the language of violence.
Yeah.
Which is, that's all you can do.
Campus rapes would be 0, and you just have 1 out of every 5 college-attending men with, little bloody chunks of dick in their stupid hipster mutton chops. And you know what? That's a better world. I don't care how you look at it.
Right. Yeah.
This guy is so goddamn greedy with these giant money bags with the dollar sign on it. And of course it's the dollar. This is clearly not the United States, but because of American imperialist hegemony, everybody is using the dollar, even in demon-infested, fantasy kingdoms. They're using the dollar.
Of course.
I just get the feeling like this guy, if he were to just drop trowel, his testicles would be shaved, and they'd each have a tattoo of a dollar sign on them. That's how fucking greedy this guy is.
Just fucking the whole thing, that whole period was just terrible.
And here's the boss monster.
Is this the final boss, or just in this level?
I think he's the last boss, and you'll notice he's the leader of the enemy faction, and he has 2 heads. Like, he has a head on his shoulders, and then he has another head in his stomach.
Near his dick.
Yeah.
Right.
And
could argue that that's his sort of a projection of his cock.
Yeah, you could. But what catches my notice...
Look at the way it's coming out.
Yeah. Not very subtle imagery. I can't believe I didn't catch on it sooner.
Right.
And he's dead. Now you'll notice, even though his adversary has 2 heads, our so-called hero doesn't attempt to engage in constructive dialogue with either of those heads. He just immediately starts throwing things
just start hucking weapons at them. I mean, what the fuck do you need to talk about, right? right? We can just completely ignore the effects that this has in every woman's day-to-day life by saying it's just a game. Sure, yeah, nobody... Oh, what do we have here? Oh, Arthur, I'm so glad you came to help me. And it's written really slowly, that's good. But not even you can defeat that fiend. Sorry, how do you... Sardius?
Yeah.
Without the, quote, goddess's bracelet. Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think the goddess's bracelet represents?
I once wore the bracelet, and that's why I was attacked. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's too much. There is no excuse. There is no excuse blaming the victim for what she was wearing. Okay, so here's this little, just to get us up to speed.
Sure. Yeah.
Arthur has to do everything again. The reason being, the stupid, airheaded girl who got kidnapped left something behind.
Right.
And this, I'm sorry, this right here, generated, because this is actually a very challenging game. I don't know if you remember playing it, but it's
vaguely.
You only, I mean, even with the gold armor, you can only survive a few hits. So this is a very challenging, very aggravating game. And then what happens? Because the stupid, dumb female, ditzy klutz left some article. You have to go all the way back to the beginning and do it all again. Nothing's changed. It's not New Game Plus. It's just the same exact shit again. Just a giant heap of shit on your plate. I mean, this...
And there's a subtle brilliance to that.
Yeah.
For example, that not only do you blame the female directly for you having to do this again, but the fact that you have to go through all this propaganda again is brilliant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to use the same exact propaganda that we did before, but it's very obviously her fault.
Yeah. Go back and...
There's a very subtle brilliance to that. Absolutely.
Clean the gutters again.
If I wasn't so fucking nauseous, I'd be impressed. But,
kill the ginger zombies again. Speaking of graves and the dead, are you familiar with the East Asian custom of hellbucks?
I am not.
Hellbucks is a modern term that's been applied to it. Basically, in Chinese folklore, they believe that in the afterlife you can receive gifts in the form of paper offerings. So basically, your living relatives make an object, they say some prayers, and there's a ceremony, and they burn an effigy of an object, and you get that object in the afterlife. And the most popular object to send is, of course, money.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but money, yeah, that makes sense, though.
Yeah, so, I mean, this has become colloquially known as hellbucks. But did you know that in the afterlife, women only receive 78 cents for every one hellbuck that a man gets?
Yeah, well, maybe.
And there's these mouth-breathing MRA types who will say, well, they shouldn't. You can't compare. You can't compare across all forms of afterlife or undeath, and that you can't compare someone who you can't pay the same person the same amount of hellbucks for pushing a boulder up a hill forever as for example, drowning in a swamp of misery and sorrow in another Malabulge forever. But that's just. It's just mansplaining, is all it is.
It's not worth it. Yeah, you did it right. Yeah. In other words, you did it right the first time, but the stupid bitch fucked it up, and now you have to do it again. It wasn't that you need to work harder. It wasn't that you need to develop any more skills. It's that the dumb bitch fucked it up. Got it. God damn. Gross. Disgusting.
Yeah. She's holding you back. That's the message.
But, incidentally, should a female play this game back then, which was, of course, rare, she would get the message. Your goal is to be rescued by this asshole. Right? And you're a debuff. Your vagina is a debuff. That's the world you live in.
Unless it has teeth.
It sort of reminds me of the sheriff in Kill Bill when he looks at the massacre and all the bodies are on the floor and he says, if you were a moron, you could almost admire it. That sort of thing. That's sort of how I feel about these games.
You know, there's so many undead themes in this. Did you know that even though there are actually more female morticians and funeral parlor employees than men in the United States?
Is that right?
Yeah, only 14% of funeral parlors are owned by women.
Wow.
What they're trying to do by letting more women be funeral parlor employees and morticians is they want to turn women into untouchables like in India, right? They won't own the parlors. Eventually that 14% will go down to zero, but the number of employees will go up and up until all of the employees at these funeral parlors are women. And then that will be the first step in the master plan of the patriarchy to reduce women to the status of what are called the Dalits in India, just the people who are untouchable, only fit to handle corpses. That's the only job that they're allowed.
And I think
I think that between the vaginal tooth level and this level right here, which I'm going to call the blue waffle level, they're not satisfied, as with many of these other chauvinistic games, to make women these beautiful physical prizes. It seems like they're just trying to ingrain disgust, just utter disgust in men towards women. You know, first, like I said, you got the teeth motif, and now you have like a platform just entirely covered with male ejaculate.
As time went on, I think it evolved and got even more. They got a little bit more ballsy, right?
Yeah.
Literally, you know.
Yeah.
More and more sexist, more and more degradation towards the females as time went on, because they felt more and more comfortable. You know, and they got better at it.
Even the expression "ballsy" is something that we've been taught that is just completely wrong. I mean, why is an expression of courage or even audacity? Why isn't there an ovary-related reference?
Well, yeah, I mean, because women are spineless and without courage, and they're utterly helpless. They're weaker. They're not as intelligent. The list goes on and on as far as what they're meaning to say to us. Yeah. And even that, and I did understand that expression. I meant it ironically. I wasn't just
right. I'm just saying, why ballsy? Why not overish?
And I was abused by these companies like who made this game. I was just a pawn in their bullshit, you know.
Yeah. And, I mean, well,
it's not my fault. But
it's not. I mean, you've been programmed, and like I said, you know, we've all been conditioned to think of, you know, ovaries being the shut-in sex organ that stays at home and makes brownies and you know, and the roast and then, you know, of course the testicles, they have a life outside the pelvis.
Again, you know, if you get it, if you watch our video series and you get it, and you really understand what this game set out to do, and you still sit silently and idly and defend it, essentially you're just a rape apologist. Yeah. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you're just a fucking rape apologist.
Yeah, a rapeologist. Well, that sounds like you're that makes it sound like you have a degree in rape, and I don't. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, let's let's edit that part out. What else is there? You were raised on this silly shit. Unbelievable.
How many times do we have to see this? And she can't even get up there. She can't get up there.
Yeah, you get the double jump. I noticed that earlier. I forgot to mention that you get the double jump. She gets the single, can't get up certain obstacles, sort of thing.
And there he's kind of making fun of her, it looked like, even though it's his alter ego. Although, you were asking, is it the same person? Well, he has brown hair, but she's blonde. So maybe it is a completely different person as well as...
Probably some woman that the animators in this game had a problem with. That's a possibility, like an ex-girlfriend.
You know what? You may be onto something.
I think so.
I think this is the artist's revenge.
Yeah, could be.
Some sexually frustrated, friend-zoned, or possibly dumped. Yeah.
Definitely.
And he's like, you bitch, this is you with your short blonde hair and your uselessness.
Right. And I did everything I could to impress you, and it wasn't good enough.
He obsesses over her, and then maybe uploads a video screaming at her, which he then quickly takes down, only to have it mirrored by like half the goddamn internet.
What do we have here? Is this different?
Yeah, this is the same guy, but he's in Super Saiyan mode.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's gotten bigger and more violent.
Yeah.
Let me guess. His giant firecock will now be longer. I'm just guessing here. It seems to be the case, but now he's like shooting ice frisbees out of his dick hole. Alarmingly easy for this tiny guy to win.
Yep.
Because we have to make these small males feel superior. Look, even the way he runs is just hilarious. Like, he runs with such, like, this macho energy, this bullshit. And she comes down in, like sort of a capsule, like one of those prize eggs you get from a gumball machine.
Yep.
Even the princess herself was married. Okay.
So she had the power to defeat the thing the entire time and just never knew it because she's useless and she needs a man to explain to her how it works.
Right, of course.
Like, oh, okay, here, Arthur, I just got a new laptop. How do I get Facebook on it?
Right.
Arthur,
right.
I have this magical bracelet of legendary power. Do you know how to yeah.
I just thought it was a regular bracelet.
Yeah. Exactly. She just
I thought it was shiny.
Yeah.
I thought it was shiny and pretty, so I wore it. Yeah. So am I to believe we're doing this again? Or?
No, this is the credit sequence.
Oh, okay.
But they made sure to pack more violence into it just for good measure.
Oh, and they're going to actually name all of the things he had to destroy.
Yeah, it's
him. What they're doing
this is him just closing his eyes, and this is what he sees behind his closed eyelids as he masturbates furiously.
Yeah.
You'd think that he'd be sleeping with the princess or sexually assaulting her, but his journey through the blue waffle level and the vagina teeth level has just scarred him for life. So he's sworn off women, and he only gets sexual arousal from recounting his acts of mass murder.
Conquest, collecting money. It would be amusing if it wasn't just so fucking just disgusting and stomach turning. It really would be.
The thing just coughed up an egg that hatched. I don't think that the makers of this game know how female anatomy works. I think he just doesn't they don't know where babies come from, so he's like, this is how it happens.
Yeah, they simply just don't give a shit. Like, what difference do babies, in their estimation, they just come from men,
Yeah.
Women just sort of are the last step of what males can create, sort of. You have to remember they're just sort of objects. They're just things that are just there. They're either obstacles or they're stepping stones. They're never individuals with real feelings, emotions, things like that.
I think the philosopher Aristotle from ancient Greece, he thought that the sperm, as such as they thought, they didn't have microscopes or anything. He thought that like the male seed had the entire human, and that the woman was just basically a vessel.
Right?
Yeah. Right. He also created the original patriarchy secret handshake thousands of years ago in ancient Greece.
Really? Surprised I don't know that by heart.
And he looked kind of like this guy right here.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that's kind of how I picture him.
And here's the flying dickless demons who just kidnap women for their boss.
Right. With the huge flaming dick. Look, there she is, just running, like with that helpless run.
Yeah.
Like, even when she runs, it screams.
Prin, and they have her measurements.
Prin.
Did you see that?
I did see that.
And here he is. Here he is giving her a ride on his giant purple horse. Not too subtle imagery there.
Ah, wow. Hey, good on you, Capcom, for making yet another sexist monstrosity. Thanks. With many more to follow, by the way. Great. Knowing what we know. Like, if we were naive, stupid guys who didn't know what the fuck we were talking about, didn't know what the agenda here was, this would be a lot easier to endure, but having been educated for a couple
the age
months,
difference.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it promotes like sort of a pedophile.
He's old enough to be your father.
Right, of course. Just every man's fantasy of a young fucking child or something. Just absolutely disgusting. And there's a question mark. Is this the end? Is this the last time our bearded male white hero will have to save this stupid defenseless bitch next time she makes a fucking mistake? I gotta tell you, on selecting this game, good job. And again, send us money because look, I gotta pay my therapist, and this is not easy for me. It's really not. And if you understood that the effort that went into producing these videos and the time we take and the psychological damage that we have to endure, just send us money. That's all I can really say. Is it's going to take a little over $100,000 to get through this, I think.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts gets our highest final misogyny rating yet. 4.5 Ray Rices out of 5. Like, comment, and subscribe, and help us fight the dick off of patriarchy once and for all.